Welcome to the Divine Feminines podcast and channel. I'm your host, Steph Desart, and in today's episode, we are talking full moon in Leo, first full moon of 2024, taking place on the 25th of January. It's a wolf moon. I'm going to talk about what it means, the astrological events, how you can really align with this full moon and make the most of it, whether you're needing to release, and also understand more about yourself, journaling prompts. And I also will pull some oracle messages, so special messages for the Divine Feminine Soul Tribe. So before I get started, don't forget to like and subscribe this channel. We're Divine Feminines on all major podcast platforms. That's Apple, Spotify, Google, and we're also on TikTok and Instagram. That's Divine Feminines with a Z at the end. Why like and subscribe this channel? Well, I hope you like it and you do subscribe. We cover everything from mind, body, soul empowerment, how to find that self-inner union balance between the divine masculine, divine feminine, how to really cultivate your internal healer energy and all your gifts, bring it to the surface and stand and step into your full potential and power. And I love the moon, so I always cover new moon and full moon, lunation updates, and moon magic and moon manifestation. So let's get started. Full moon in Leo, January the 25th, 2024, first full moon of the year. How are you guys feeling? For all of my good friends and followers, a lot of you are probably based, most of you guys I think are based in the UK and the US, so it might be quite cold over there, and that's why this is called a wolf moon, because it was known for being when the full moon was out, the wolves would be howling at the full moon in winter. That's why it's called wolf moon. And because this full moon around this time of the year can get highly strung and emotional, more than maybe your average full moon. I mean, what full moon doesn't bring the emotions to the surface? So it's happening and taking place at its optimum full moon brightness at 5:45 p.m. UK time or 12:45 p.m. New York EST time. And full moon energy is very potent, 3 days before, 3 days after. And, I want you guys to think back to the new moon in Leo, because that was 6 months ago around Lionsgate. So we're talking, late July, early August. Think about the last 6 months and what's happened in your life. What have you learned? What has come to a full culmination? Because the full moon is like when it's really bursting at that full. So think about that. Leo is ruled by the sun. So it's all about, courage, bravery. You see the sign of the lion, having the courage, stepping into your power, really having the boldness to speak up and express. It's also a passionate energy, creative, and one that is like center stage. If you think of house 5 in tarot, in astrology, house 5 is actually, a lot of my planets are in house 5. So you guys might be like, oh yeah, I recognize that in you, Steph. But it's very much about the inner child. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute. The inner child, but relationship to children, romance and romantic relationships and endeavors, and also self-expression, passion and creativity. And you find a lot of Leos maybe in the celebrity world. There's a lot of Leos that are actors, or Leos that take those type of more public facing roles, but it's also just a creative space of how you create. And I always say on these episodes, the creator created us to create. We're not here to consume, we're here to give and create, but we need to find our gifts. So Leo being ruled by the sun, and we are in Aquarius season. Really interesting, because Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, and Uranus just recently went direct. So you may have felt a shift there. Uranus is the planet of kind of chaos and unexpected events, but not for bad reasons. Uranus comes in and shakes it up a bit and brings a bit of disruption, not corruption, disruption and chaos, to kind of like shake things up and to make us see things in different and better ways. So I don't think that's a bad thing. Now, Aquarius is all about humanity. It's all about the collective, community, and the rebel and the kind of innovator. Uranus energy, innovation, doing things different, technology. And Leo is more about the self, the sun, the self. How do I express myself? Am I speaking up? Am I speaking in my power? Am I really, doing that? But I mentioned the inner child. This is a moment where I really encourage you guys to really connect with your inner child and say, we all have our inner child, and we need to embrace that. And to be honest, I think that's what we don't do enough of. All of our inner child that exists, you know, the little one in us, has to be heard. And so you need to ask yourself, where am I being heard? Do I feel like I'm being heard? And am I actually taking that stage to speak up and express and to show myself? But also, where am I being a bit cranky and being a little bit immature and being silly and holding myself back because of wounding, because of disappointment, or because I'm seeing things in old ways? Because this is a time to release it. And also, it's like, if we don't, we're going to get dragged. So if we've been showing up to situations with old ways of thinking, maybe looking at things and being a bit immature, being a little bit childish, or being a little bit like, meh. You know, when you get into your like sulk and you get a bit moody, and we all do it. That's definitely our inner child doing that sort of stuff, for sure. And so we also need to like recognize that and understand what is causing that, and then nurture it, but then try to release those behaviors, because they're not good and they're not really serving to us. They hold us back, but they come up for a reason, because we need to address them. So very interesting time now is like with this Leo full moon, it's like wherever Leo sits in your natal chart, there's an opportunity to go, you know, how am I really using this Leo energy, this fire energy, and am I really seizing with passion, with creativity? Am I not doing anything too, because you know, you can get easily into the kind of arrogant side of Leo and the ego side, because Leo energy is confident. It's like knowing yourself. And it's so interesting because I had a conversation yesterday on a business map for more corporate reasons, but we, you know, in corporations, you do things like Myers-Briggs, Strengths Finders and things like that. And it's important because you can understand yourself better. And interestingly, I have a trait called self-assurance, which is very much about knowing, being confident, really not needing to be told by someone else or having others' validation. You can really just understand what it is in yourself, and move forward. You don't need to have the go and do it, and you really find that self-trust and that self sort of belief to go forward and to do things. And but if it's done in, you know, you have to have things with balance, because it can also come across arrogant. Now, you may not want it to be arrogant, but others might perceive you that way. But you could get too far into that space and be arrogant. So it's just about bringing things into balance. But I really urge you, because this is the new year, this Leo full moon is perfect. It's like, where do I need to focus my passions? Where do I really need to show up, speak up, express, and not feel afraid to speak about my inner child? Let my inner child be heard. And whether that's in relationships or business or in our own personal pursuits or with ourselves, Leo is also, when I say house 5, I mention romance. And so this is a nice time to clear outdated things that we might have been bringing into relationships or romance, and seeing where that inner child is kind of being cranky in a relationship, and maybe understanding what our partner was maybe trying to say to us, being open to hear, but also then being open to hear ourselves, and just journal and take time. It's a good moment to have some time for you, because in Aquarius season, and I'm going to mention Aquarius and Pluto, we are going to be all about the community. So we want to find some balance here, but I really urge you to take, always on a full moon, I always say, spend time alone. It can be quite highly strung, and so it's not the best time to be out there. I quite like to be in my own, connect with water, connect with nature, and really just do my rituals and all of that good stuff. Now, a couple of more things. This full moon is also having a sextile with Jupiter and Saturn at the same time. Now, Saturn, we know Saturn, everyone's like, oh, don't like that. Saturn's not a bad planet. It's just about order, you know, regulation, structure, ruling Capricorn. So you know what Capricorn kind of energy is like. And so Jupiter sextiling Saturn is actually a good thing. So where have you been consistently showing up, following some kind of methodical, logical plan and organization, and really consistently focusing on something? It might be a business plan, it might be a passion project, it might be your career, and it might be building a family home, or building something that's of structure, of organization, that you've been working on bit by bit by bit, and you've been giving your focus on, and over the last 6 months particularly as well. But where Jupiter is sextile Saturn, it's like Jupiter's bringing in this beautiful abundance and prosperity and expansion to wherever you have been giving that consistent contribution and focus. So there's a really auspicious moment here where some really great things can be happening. But also just remember that when Jupiter does come and expand things, and you know, Saturn being like work and maybe structure of business and things like that, contracts, obligations, regulations, Jupiter comes in and expands things, you might notice your work just blows up in a good way. There's more work, there's more this, there's more that, there's more opportunities. So you could easily reach burnout. So you know, we're always getting tested because we want more, or we want more opportunity, and when we get given it, are we able to be in a balanced way to manage that? Because ultimately, we can't just be living to work all our lives. We have family, we have friends, we have romance, and we are here on this earth to experience it all and have, you know, the experience of it all. And balance is one of the key things. How can we find the grounding in ourselves, the balance in ourselves, so that we can show up for ourselves, but also be able to experience the other things? And that's what we'll be tested on. So also ask yourself, where could I be burning out, or where have I burnt myself out in the past, to make sure that you're not going to put yourself in that position again. I hope that makes sense. And then finally, I'll touch on it, but I talk about this quite a lot in my astrology of 2024. So look out for that video, it will be coming out. I've done a numerology of 2024, and I've done a part 2 on the astrology. And I talk about Aquarius, Pluto moving into Aquarius, because Pluto has just left Capricorn after 15 years since 2008. And wherever Pluto was in Capricorn for your chart, you might have really noticed, you definitely really noticed big changes. And even though, you know, Pluto is that dwarf planet, it's powerful, death and rebirth and transformation for the better, removing things that are no longer serving us. So, you know, be aware of that. And now Pluto's moving into Aquarius, is in Aquarius, and will be in Aquarius up until September, and then we'll revisit Capricorn in a retrograde for a couple of months to really just test us a little bit. And this move from Pluto to Aquarius is real big transformation from a scale of humanity, from a scale of like technology. And this is going to be a time of like, if you're not down with the technology and the innovation and doing things smarter, faster and differently, and being open to connecting with community and learning from others and building new networks and doing things like more, you know, just out of the box, then you are not going to be left behind. And if you're left behind, Pluto will definitely throw the towers on you to really let go of those old ways and to show up and move forward with the collective to a place where we're going that is serving all of us. Now, this is a 20-year cycle, so find out where Aquarius is in your chart, and there will be change and shift. And over 20 years. So it's not all going to happen in one go, but the first part of 2024, you'll start to notice changes. You'll start to notice where it was, Pluto was in Capricorn, starts to settle, and you start to kind of see all the rewards for your hard work there, if you've been putting in the work and you were transforming. And now you'll start to see the changes going in other areas. And we shouldn't resist change. It can be harsh and it can be difficult, but the more we resist it, the more that the universe will throw things at us to try and get us to flow with things. So allow things as they come, my advice is, and to embrace it. Even if it is uncomfortable, embrace it and roll with it and just breathe. Things like meditation, going for walks, just connecting, journaling, how you feel. You are not your emotions. So breathe through it. The breath is here. The breath keeps us present. And that's all I want to say, because you guys can check out that video that I've done. I talk about Pluto in Aquarius more specifically. So let's talk channeled messages. What do we need to hear? And then I'm going to end on some journal prompts. One thing that I didn't mention was Venus was retrograde in Leo last year, 6 months ago. And so in that time, Venus being retrograde was slowing things down to really see where, you know, we can bring in more beauty, more abundance, more, you know, greatness. But it was kind of reflecting in that house. So wherever Leo was in your chart, think back to that time of that Venus retrograde in Leo and look back to now and see where you've come. And there might still be things that you need to sort through and maybe things you need to release. Like, frustrations, limiting beliefs. You know, Leo's energy is about standing in your power. So what is it that you're holding yourself back on that you think you can't stand in your power, you know? So, highest and best messages, please, for the soul tribe of the divine feminines on this Leo full moon. What do they need to know, Spirit? Let's go. Oh, 2 on the floor. It's a great way to start. We've got hope and divine design. Hope. So this is really beautiful. It's called the prayer. Hope, and really white dove energy. So I really encourage you guys to do this ritual. Keep that hope, keep that faith, because that's what keeps us going. You know, yes, this full moon can be emotional. Yes, the last 6 months might have been challenging. I know I face challenges in my own way. Someone might go, oh, they're not challenges. My challenges were more, but we are all on individual paths. And so what we deem as challenging is true to be challenging. It's genuine. And that might be something that, you know, we need to go through for our soul's journey. So keep that hope and that faith wherever you've seen the challenges, and you know you want to go somewhere and you have a vision, you have those goals. Stay with that. Keep that hope. Meditate, journal, visualize, be present, let go of the past. And the divine design, I love this, the unknown. We are walking into we are definitely walking into this era. Pluto and Aquarius, there's a lot of unknowns, there's a lot of transformation. But can you see, like, this divine design? It's like, part of this is really like, you are the co-creator of your reality. It's not like life is happening to you. You are creating that life. So you can influence this, and it's down to you. And Leo being creative energy, and an energy of like visualizing, bringing things to life. Like the sun is masculine energy. It's like a doer. So yeah, there's definitely this opportunity for you to design what you want for this year ahead and years to come. And where do you need to step into your power? Let go of the past. You know, a lot of old experiences in the past, whether it's love, relationships gone wrong, business projects gone wrong, business partnerships gone wrong. Yes, it can be debilitating. It can hold you back, but it's not going to serve you going forward and trying to do what you need to do for you to really embrace the unknown. It's scary, but we need to surrender. And when we surrender, it's exciting. I always say to myself, when I go through these moments of like just letting it go. And then I get this wave of like, I'm excited because I don't know what's coming. So if you can get into that, that is going to be a great energy to be in. Any more messages? I'm due to go yoga after this, so hopefully the messages come through. Not that I don't want to stay on this video with you guys, but I'm sure you want to know the messages. And we've got responsibility, loyalty. So this reminds me of the burnout card. Like, you know, a dog is so loyal, and sometimes to its own fault. So yes, loyalty is important. At this time, you might be seeing who's really loyal to you as a friend, as a business partner, who's not, and where you have suffered disloyalty versus loyalty, let that go. But at this time, as we go into this Aquarius, Pluto Aquarius conjunct, and this new era and Aquarius season, you're going to meet people that are, you know, more loyal, more valuable to your journey and where you need to be. And it's funny because I say wolf moon, dog, and like this full moon behind him. So you might feel emotional about where things haven't been good to you, but that trust that there are loyal people, loyal situations and opportunities for you. Let go of the past, and also look at the loyalty that you have to yourself versus others, Leo versus Aquarius, because we can be at a fault to be so loyal to others that we're not loyal to ourselves, and we need to have that balance. Or even just giving so much to our business and we just don't have balance in ourselves and we're burning out. So make sure you get that in balance. Let's go for one more. Final message. Oh, okay. Spirit said 2 more and that's it. Love it, love it, love it. Creativity, the alchemist. Look at this. This is Leo energy to a T. Be creative. Be clear about what it is that you want to bring in. Have fun. Play. Let that inner child, play with that inner child. Let the inner child do things that really bring it joy. what makes you happy, you know what I mean? Sing, dance, whatever it is, draw, paint, go and do some fun activities, watch a funny movie even, just play a board game at home. I don't know, like I know it's winter, so it might be a bit hard for those that in the Northern Hemisphere, but yeah, be creative. And you know, you're visualizing what you want for this year and the future. Mood boards, visualization boards, maybe write poetry, music, whatever it is. It's a great time. And you could even just be like, okay, I'm not a musician or anything, but you could take your intentions, your affirmations, and turn it into some kind of like design, music, and it will manifest it even better, like, because it's just so passionate, right? It's creative energy. And the final one is the storm, turmoil. So know that this will pass, and there might be very stormy waters at this time and over this period, or you've come from a very stormy time. But storms don't last forever, do they? We all know that a storm does come, but it comes and it cleanses and it lets what it doesn't need. It needs to just have that wave of the storm, and whoosh, that energy changes. So know that if that's happening, you can be centered and grounded in and amongst a storm, a blizzard. So you need to find that grounding in yourself, so that internal grounding doesn't feel susceptible to the externalities that are happening, right? So that self-assurance that I talked about before, when you have that self-assurance, that self-trust, you can go through it. And you might have to release some emotions, cry, let it out, write down what you need to release, and get it out of your system, yeah? And burn it at this full moon, you know? And so some final journal prompts that you might want to think about is, if you've experienced burnout, like what were the signs of it, so that you can avoid it, so you can prevent it, and how can you prevent it going forward? What was the last time if you did sort of shrink yourself, minimize yourself, not speak up, not show, you know, your full potential, and in a situation, work, love, whatever. And so this time around, how would you do it differently? Where do you want to like show up differently? And when was the last time you caught yourself being flippant and like quite like in your maybe arrogance, ego, and reacting in fight or flight brain? So it's like more the shadow side of Leo energy. And where did you notice you did that? And how can you have that self-awareness of bringing it into balance? And that's also sometimes our inner child makes us quite flippant and reactionary, because we're acting as like a childlike kind of, you know how kids are, they don't really stop, they'll just go for the emotion, the reaction quite quickly. And anything else that you need to release at this time, love, in personal thoughts, limiting beliefs, things that you keep visiting in your head, those things you keep visiting in your head, there's definitely a connection to it, connecting to a limiting belief or a worry or a stress. What do you need to release? Write it down, burn it, do some kind of ritual, whatever you feel. Get your crystals out, charge them up, and do whatever kind of magic that you feel is great for you. But I'm going to love and leave you, because I am going to go and do a beautiful yoga session on this full moon, and later on I'm going to do a ceremony for 3 hours, which is with some sound healing and a fire, because it's Leo energy, so fire. So I can't wait to enjoy this full moon. But I'm sending you peace, love, light, and abundance. Mwah. Love, Soul Tribe. Bye.